And I always tell my 9-year-old kid all the time, best catcher I ever saw was Johnny Bench. Johnny, good to talk to you. Chris Russo, New York. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Chris. And actually, I'm always committed to going. I was up to the Dave Thomas orphanage golf tournament up in Minneapolis, and I worked for 3M, and they had switched the dates to that weekend. And so when they called, it was not much that you can do except a commitment, and that's you have a responsibility to your word. And so I was up there, and we raised a lot of money for the Dave Thomas Orphanage and 3M, and of course there was the Champions Tour going on, but I do a little work for 3M up there. So I was very disappointed I couldn't make it.
Well, we missed you because if anybody deserves to be behind home plate, it's you, Yogi, and Carlton Fisk wasn't there either. So, well, Johnny Bench is you were it's all about as far as catching is concerned. Is it true, Johnny, that you got an autograph from Ted Williams early in your career that said to a future from one Hall of Famer to a future Hall of Famer, Ted Williams? Is that true?
In 1969, Roy Sievers had played with had been a coach and played with. Been over with Washington when he was managing, and we were playing down in Florida in spring training, and I asked Roy if he would take me over and maybe I could get a ball signed, and he said, come on, and he introduced me, and I said, you mind if I get a ball signed? And he said, no, and he signed it, and that was in the clubhouse, and we walked, and we were almost at third base coming back down the field when I looked at the ball and said, Johnny Bench, a Hall of Famer for sure. And I looked at Roy, and I said, he knows who I am?
Wow.
And
well,
yeah,
did,
I mean, if you ever have to live up to something, Chris, that's a pretty good test.
That is, and you were Rookie of the Year already, so he would know who you are, Johnny. Before we get to this book, which a very interesting little book.
Thank you.
Two at-bats for me. As a young kid growing up, I was a Giant fan, so I used to follow the Reds and NL West all the time. The one homer against Justy in Game 5, Clementi's last ever game. And the base hit after you got that big hit off the Red Sox in Game 2 in '75 to right center. I think it drove in either Concepcion drove you in or you drove Concepcion in. You got 2 in the 9th and you won that series. Give me those two at bats. Let's do Justy first. Right center, leading off the 9th, down by a run, Game 5 against the Pirates. Go ahead.
Well, I can remember Ron Sandover telling me later that he came in off the golf course and here he was. They said, "What's happening?" He said, "It's 2-1. The Pirates and Dave Justy just came in," and Ron said it's over. And it really was with Dave Justy. I mean, he was just the kind of pitcher that you didn't really hit. And he got a fastball up and in, and I pulled it foul down the line and went out, but foul. And then it was just a change. I mean, it was just a palm ball that he always threw, and here I was taking it to right field where you can still hear the call of Al Michaels.
Oh, it's a great call. Back goes Clemente. Whoa, gone. It's a great call.
Well, and the gone was about 3 octaves higher than that because he got so excited. When Al started out with the Reds, it was a great moment for him and a great moment for us because he just started broadcasting baseball. So it was, every time I walked back into Riverfront, it was almost like you could still hear the roar. I mean, it echoed through that stadium. People, they said, that had left the game thing, was over, trying to get out early, and said they were all the way uptown, maybe 4 or 5 blocks, and they heard this roar, and they all come running back to the ballpark.
Well, I think it's probably the most significant at-bat you ever had, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I definitely believe that. It meant so. When I saw after the game and all that, what it meant to everybody for us to come from behind to a great Pirate team, it just meant so much. I mean, it really did. I saw what it meant to everybody else and all the people in the stands, and that's really the real thing that really matters when it's all said and done, is seeing the reaction, what happens with fans and all the people that follow you.
And then the wild pitch by Bob Moose, and the Reds go on to the World Series. Now, how about in '75? In the 9th in Game 2, Tian shut you down in a first game. And remember, the Reds had gotten close a lot and hadn't gotten over the hump yet, so they were sort of a little Buffalo Bills-ish. And that Game 2 was a very significant game. Rain delay, the whole bit. You got a big hit in that 9th inning. I forget who pitched, but Bill Lee, go through that 9th inning for me, Johnny.
Well,
go
actually,
ahead.
it had been a rain delay, and they were interviewing me in between innings. And I talked about, I was coming up, and they talked about it, me coming up, and I said, well, I'm just going to look for the pitch away and try to take it to right field. And it turned out, and Bill later said it was the biggest hit, and it was a stupid pitch on his part. He should have been watching TV and found out what I was talking about.
Yeah, maybe, right?
As only Bill Lee would do, but he blamed he blamed himself for making that pitch and said it was the biggest hit of the series. As it turned out in the seventh game, of course, there were a lot of great things that happened.
It was. Let's talk about let's go get a cheeseburger. Why don't you explain Ted Bench and that little statement that he made to you when you were a kid playing Little League and how that changed your life a little bit, thinking about your great career. Go ahead.
Well, when my dad, we were in Bingor, and I was 6 years old, and my dad started a Little League team. He had hoped to play Major League Baseball, but he served 2 hitches in the war, so he never got the chance. So he wanted one of his sons. I was the third of the 3, and he wanted one of his sons. And so he started this Little League team. We rode around the back of the pickup truck, and, I mean, it was new to Bingor, and nobody really played ball. And so we would even have to drive around town and try to pick up an 8th or 9th player because we never had the whole team. And so, you know, we would play and we'd lose. And my dad would say, "That's all right, let's go get a cheeseburger." And then at the end of the year, as we had played and got better and kept playing home run derby and tin can and everything else, we got to be pretty good. And we played a team that was undefeated, and, well, we beat them. And they were over there crying. And, of course, it's today the parents that are over there crying.
Yeah, you're right.
And I looked at my dad, and I said, "What's wrong with them?" He said, "They haven't learned to lose yet, son. Let's go get a cheeseburger."
That's a good story.
Yeah, I mean, life was like that with my dad. And then it was just a matter of always playing against higher competition and developing my skills, and got lucky enough from kids from a town of 600 people to be able to play for the Cincinnati Reds and play in 4 World Series.